Tony, I think you guys have outscored your opponents 100-12 in the first half. Can you kind of delve into maybe the emotional impacts that has both on your team in a positive way and on the opponent, kind of a demoralizing effect?
For us, we talk a lot about getting off to a fast start. I think the faster we start, the quicker we get in the rhythm. And so it helps the psyche on the sideline while the offensive guys also with the defense. And then I would imagine it probably put some pressure on the opposing team as well. But that's a focus for ours. I didn't know the actual spread there, didn't know the numbers, but that's good to know, because sometimes it doesn't feel like that. But no, we want to get off to a fast start. We always talk about just coming out playing clean, get off to a fast start, put some pressure on defense, and go have fun.
Everybody had put Trevor and Travis on all these Heisman lists at the beginning of the year. And obviously the numbers aren't there just because of the way the games have played out. But can you just speak to, as a coaching staff, you guys there's no need to worry about that, is there? And you don't?
No, we don't worry about it. Obviously that decision is made outside of our control, outside of our building. We just focus on being the best version of ourselves, playing our best football. And offensively, we've always talked about as well, not having an ego with what we do offensively. Each team's going to have a plan on how they want to defend us, and we just have to take what's there. So I'll speak into Travis' situation. He's faced a lot of 8-man boxes. A lot of people have said, we're not going to let you run the football. But he's still running hard. He's still playing at a high level. And if he continues to do that, then ultimately at the end of the season, he'll look up and he'll get what he's earned. So that's all we really talk about. We don't focus on any of the awards, because at the end of the day, it's a team sport. It's the ultimate team sport, and that's all we focus on. It's just how these guys play, and then let everybody else decide all that other stuff.
Jeff was saying that you went up to T. It's like, I think you're done after just a couple of series. The team was like, yeah, get somebody else in there. The rest of the team, do they take that same mindset and that attitude?
No question. I think there's a couple pictures. If you just go look at the end of the Syracuse game, when Chez gets in there and breaks a long run, Travis was one of the first guys to congratulate him coming off the field. Same thing with Mikey Dukes when he scored this week. And so those guys, they understand they were in that position at one time. And they appreciate the fact that the older guys, wanted them to get an opportunity to play. And they also understand, too, that we got to have depth. And the only way that we build depth, the competitive depth, is that those guys get experience. So they're excited to play. They want to play. Obviously, they're competitors, but they're excited to see their teammates play. They understand the benefit long term. And I think that's been something that's really helped our program over the last couple of years, is as we get to the end of the season, because we played a lot of guys, guys are able to stay fresh, and also you have that competitive depth down the stretch.
Tony, guys can stay fresh. Does it limit their sharpness? If Trevor's only playing 15 minutes, does that help the sharpness, or can you stay sharp even when you're not on the field?
I think it's a combination of the game and practice too. I think the way that you prepare and how you practice is going to determine how you play. And so the key is making sure when we come out on this practice field that we're sharp. And then again, obviously this was Trevor's first situation where he came out relatively early, but Travis has played a good amount of snaps throughout the course. Even though those other guys have played, Travis has still played a good amount of snaps. So I think it's really what they do on the practice field, and then maximizing the opportunities they have in the game will determine how well they play.
Is Travis?
Go ahead, Eric.
Sorry, is Travis last year at the end of the year the best example of what you're talking about, staying fresh, compared to the year before when he was the opposite?
The year before, I think it was a different situation, so I think that's a yes and a no answer to that one. The first being when he was a freshman, he was coming straight in from high school, hadn't been in the weight room, so I think that was a function of just, playing a longer season, not understanding how to take care of his body, and then the next year, the ability to play guys helps him to stay fresh throughout the course of the year. But again, he did play a lot of snaps. I think the biggest thing for those guys is not just the snap counts, but how they prehab, how their nutrition is, how they're sleeping. I think that's a big component of them being able to be at their best at the end of the season.
You think with the way Coach Sweeney pulls guys like Trevor and them, that maybe he can kind of start a trend necessarily where making these Heisman voters actually kind of like watch games instead of getting caught up in so much statistics?
I don't know if I know the answer to that one, but hopefully it does resonate throughout college football that it's not about stats. It's about managing your locker room, creating a culture. That's the culture that we have in place. Coach believes in giving guys an opportunity to play that deserve to play, and we reward those guys for the way that they work in practice. And so, that's something that we believe in wholeheartedly, starting at the top with Coach Sweeney, all the way down to the coaches through the locker room. And if it catches on, it catches on. But really, we're focusing on ourselves, But here recently we've had a chance to kind of impact college football a little bit.
Can you kind of compare and contrast the competition between Ches and Dukes as far as their battling for positioning and pecking order?
It's day to day. It's week to week. I think they each got a different set of skills. You watch Ches run. I mean, he's a violent downhill one-cut runner. You watch Dukes. He's very elusive. Likes to get in open space, very, very quick. So they're different. But I think the biggest thing for them is week to week being able to grasp what the protection plan is. And this week here is going to be tough. Bateman does a great job up at North Carolina. He changes his fronts a lot, brings a lot of exotic blitzes, so to speak. He's bringing corners, bringing safeties, and he's got you stemming in and out of front. So the biggest thing for those guys is me having the confidence to put them in the game if they can keep my quarterback upright. I think running the football, they have a good grasp of what we're trying to do from a schematic standpoint. But the biggest thing is just me having the confidence that they can make the adjustments and be able to communicate with the offensive line and the quarterback, as quick as it happens in the game so that they can get in there. So week to week is different. But biggest thing for those guys is just coming to work. And they both got a great attitude. They both understand, where they're at on the depth chart. They understand why they're there. They understand the things that they got to work on, and they attack it every single week. And the other night was a really good opportunity for us to get them some playing time, and hopefully as the season goes on, we'll continue to have more opportunities to get them in there, and so they can show me in the game, not just on the practice field.
Tony, what have you seen in UNC personnel-wise on the defensive side?
They got players. Biggest thing is they're playing hard. They're playing hard. You can tell that they believe in the scheme. Their nose guard number 92 does a really, really good job inside. He can be a two-gap guy. He can be a penetrator when he wants to. They're athletic at defensive end. I remember number 12 Fox from coming out of when I was recruiting Gwinnett County from Collins Hill. He's a very, very strong. Reminds me a lot of like a Vic Beasley type of guy. Probably not 270 pounds, but man, he's strong for his size. The veteran guys play a lot of football. Their safeties are aggressive. They're aggressive, and then their corners are confident playing man coverage. And then the scheme, gives them a chance. Bateman's very, very multiple. He's going to stem and move his front. He's always going to be challenging you. He's going to get that seventh defender near the box, whether it's the nickel Sam in their odd structure, or it's going to be one of those safeties fitting in their 4-down 2-shell structure. So it's going to be a good challenge for us. Both figuring out in the running game because again. They're so multiple, and they change fronts, and they create so many single blocks on a lot of things that they do. So you got to be pinpoint accurate in the running game, and then because of that, they get so many guys near the box that they can bring a lot of pressure, and they can run your protections hot if you're not careful. So it's going to be a good challenge for us all the way across the board, at every position, to make sure that we respect the preparation process this week, just like we did last week. And that was probably the thing I was most proud about, from the offensive standpoint, is they really, really. Respected and appreciated the preparation process, and they were able to come out and play clean.
Tony, what's a message this week? Because I know these guys are probably like, hey, we've been going hard 2 months. You finish this game, we get a week off.
Well, it's the biggest game of the season. It's a conference game. These guys, they want a piece of us just like everybody else wants a piece of us. So we can't focus on next week. All we can focus on is where our feet are. That's today. And again, I know I get probably get tired of hearing me saying, but mental Monday, Tanoga Tuesday, and that's going to be the point of emphasis, and really taking the momentum out of the last week's game and carrying it into this game. And, up to the first half, especially with the veteran guys, they play their best half of football. Let's carry that forward, and let's have the challenge every single week to top what we did last week and make each week the best performance that we've had all year. So there's a lot of things to get these guys motivated, to not to have them looking ahead to the open day.
Is playing a defense like Clemson in practice in fall camp, does that help when you come up with a team against a team like North Carolina that's very multiple? Does that help game planning wise, or just?
It helps me to calm my nerves a little bit when you cut on the film and you see so many different things, and you're able to say, hey, look, we go against Brent in our defense every single day, and so we have the answers. We just got to go back and revisit some of the thoughts that we had in fall camp and preparation process, and so it gives us confidence knowing that, hey, we're going to find the adjustments. We're going to find the right schemes to get our guys in, and so it just gives us confidence, to go back and just rest on our experience that we've had on our own practice field. But again, you got to tip your hat to what Coach Bateman is doing with those guys up in North Carolina.
I'm sure you've seen some crazy things over all your years here as a player and a coach. Where does the fact that you guys head to the locker room and Disney is filming a movie at halftime and you got fake Clemson Tigers running down the hill and on the field, where does that kind of rank up there for you?
That was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, pretty interesting, and I was trying not to pay any attention to it, you know. So all of a sudden I look up and I'm pretty mellow. I try to stay quiet, other than when I'm calling the plays on the headset or when I'm directing traffic, trying to get something corrected. But I said, hey boys, look, they got the guys at the top of the hill, and then Coach Sweeney looks at us and said, hey, the real Tigers on the field and the Hollywood Tigers on the hill. So it was pretty neat experience. And wish would have had an opportunity to see how it operated, because that probably would have been pretty fascinating. I understand they did it in a matter of, and I may not be accurate on this, but I heard somebody say they might have shot 50 plus scenes in like 6.5, 7 minutes. So that's pretty cool.
Is there, Trevor talks about it, the players talk about it all the time, Brent, and some of the stuff that he comes up with at practice. And has there ever been a moment out on the practice field when you're like, dude, we're in week 2 of fall camp, why would you run that? Or he's just totally come up with something that surprised you?
That's day one. I'm not waiting till it's not. And again, and I have to remind the offensive staff, because again, there's a progression that we want to teach, and especially offensively, with the way that we install. And a lot of times things don't marry up, and we understand that. And so I just have to remind the guys, hey fellas, let's not get frustrated, man. Let's just put on our thinking caps and let's figure out. And then the problem is that's every single day, because as soon as you fix one thing, right, that he comes with something else. But again, it goes back to that gives us confidence, when we play, especially when you're transitioning from playing last week, where they pretty much lined up and gave you a base look pretty much every play, to now, you're going to get so many different things, from play to play. And it's not just from series to series, play to play. So that actually starts on day 1 and it goes through day 29 of fall camp. But again,